How much of a priority will finding a center fielder who could produce offensively while not hurting the defense be?
Big. And again, I'll reference the piece I wrote for SNY.TV, wrote the other day. That's exactly what I focused on was two positions. And you mentioned it just a few minutes ago, Connor, second base and center field. Those are two positions that I think are in flux a little bit for opening day 2026. But you can see not too far down the road, down the tunnel, Carson Bench is knocking on that door. Jet Williams is knocking on that door. So you need to balance, and that this is what David Stearns is going to have to really figure out. The 2026 team cannot have the same results as the 2025 team. So the Mets have to do something about those positions. And maybe it is keep Jeff McNeil at second base temporarily. And then whenever Jet is ready, he comes up and Jeff becomes a kind of super utility guy off the bench.
Right? Yeah.
Like that's a possibility. But I think you might look to go move McNeil for something, and you could go outside the organization. I wrote about Alex Bregman, who I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago. Ha-Sung Kim has a player option. Like if you're looking for run prevention, Ha-Sung Kim's your guy. Like he could win a Gold Glove, I think, at second base, and he provides stolen base threat, just maybe not as much offensively. So that's maybe a little bit of a sacrifice. And center field for me, I'm getting right back on the Luis Robert train, Connor. That train hasn't left the station for me. I think the White Sox bungled this whole thing, not trading him at the deadline, and he gets hurt immediately after the trade deadline and misses the rest of the season. I think that market is going to circle its way back, and he's a guy that is almost on like an optimal contract for the Mets. 1 year, $20 million. I'm assuming the White Sox are picking up their option. Otherwise, why'd they not trade him? And then a club option for 2027 at $20 million. So it's literally year to year, $20 million. You give him a shot. He was really turning a corner from like mid-June, late June up until the trade deadline, where it was like, this is the guy that could potentially make an impact. And that's maybe a deal that you could see the Mets trading from their glut of infielders, whether that is a Mark Vientos, a Luis Angel Acuna, a Ronnie Mauricio, somebody like that, in a deal to bring Robert in. There's some risk, but guess what? He's going to help you run prevention in center field. He is an excellent defensive center fielder. He's got a crazy good arm. He could run. There is power potential in the bat. So it's a flyer, but it's a flyer that I think if there's a team it makes sense for, it's the Mets.
Yeah, I think this will be a priority for them. It's just a matter of being able to find something that there's not a lot of supply of in Major League Baseball. I mean, think of all the conversations we had a half year ago about Jarren Duran, right? And it feels like, Joe, I don't know if Duran is a true center fielder for many more years now.
It's weird.
Right?
It's really,
the range
it's really
this year
weird.
was not great, but he has a lot of great tools where you think he would be better.
Yeah, it's like an athletic projection. You're like, he could handle center field. Look at how great of an athlete he is, but he had a very weird year defensively. And you just think back to the playoff game against the Yankees where he inexplicably slid for that ball and just bounced off his glove. He could have just stayed up and caught it. So a weird year for Duran, but look, I'll call on him too. I'm open-minded. I mean, outside of it, in that article I wrote, if you want to go the free agency route, do you want Trent Grisham? I mean,
Here's my Grisham take, Joe.
Yeah.
I think we just saw the best year of Grisham, and I'm not going to pay for Grisham having his best year with the Yankees to only go downhill with the Mets.
And just become the fourth outfielder that he basically always was. And your other option is Cody Bellinger, who I still think probably returns to the Yankees, and his versatility is awesome. But if you look, just through his defensive metrics, he can play center field, but he is not going to be a value add defensively in center field. He's a value add in left field, in right field, and first base. So I'd keep an eye on Bellinger just like in general as a target, but I wouldn't look at him as the center field solution. So to me, it's all aboard the Luis Robert train again, and hope my take is better than how long I was aboard the Cedric Mullins train. So hopefully just a little better than that.
whatever the Mets do, I hope they just try to get younger and athletic in that
Yeah.
area because it's amazing how quickly the drop off happens for these guys. We just witnessed it. Brandon Nimmo transformed himself into an adequate center fielder, and then in a blink of an eye, he's a below average corner outfielder in just a
Yeah.
few short years. Trent Grisham, who you just brought up, Joe, is a great example. He still has the ability to read the ball off the bat, but he's not the same athlete anymore in center field. He's not. He's I think going to be 29,
So he's
but
still young, but
he's
it's
still
weird.
young.
Yeah.
But when he was on the Padres, I thought that dude could cover the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
And you watch him in the Yankees, he's not a bad center fielder. Let me be very clear. But do I think he's aging the right way in center field? No, I think he's lost some range as well, where I don't want to pay the premium on that. So this is the one area, Joe, I'll say it over and over again, that I don't envy Stearns at all. I think this is the hardest thing to solve this offseason. Like, I think if Pete walks, they're going to have a lot of options to get power at first base / DH. I think they'll have pitchers they could trade for. I think they'll have different options at second base. You always have options in the bullpen. They have guys in the farm that can pitch. Center field, unless they project Benj as a true center fielder, and we don't know that yet, it seems more likely left field, as you've said before, with, mediocre center field ability. This is a hard market to figure out, which goes back to your Luis Robert idea.